the next thing we're going to do is create mains. The reason we have to create a main is IMS is set up so that you can do unidirectional flushing and C-factor testing. Usually these two activities are done using a specific section of main. And so in IMS you'll be able to go in and create a main. So we'll go ahead and we'll go up into devices. We'll go down and we'll select main maintenance. And there are a few things that we need to set up first. The first one is connection maintenance. Go ahead and click on this. And you can see we have a few things in here. Again, you can edit this to be specific to your city. I'm going to go in and add a new one that's just MJ mechanical joint by mechanical joint. So now we have created a new fitting called mechanical joint. And we'll go ahead and X out of here. We'll go back to main maintenance. We're going to put in pipe maintenance. We're going to add new. And we're going to put in P, C, C, 900. PVC water line, and we have a coefficient of 130. Now, if you don't know the coefficient of your pipe, it'll be important that you contact your manufacturer. This coefficient value is required to do some of the calculations we'll need later when we get into unidirectional flushing and C-factor testing. So be sure to check with your manufacturer and make sure that that coefficient value is accurate. So we'll go ahead and save this. And now we've created a piece of PVC pipe under our mains maintenance. We'll go back to mains, and then the last thing is our fitting maintenance. And we're just going to put one fitting in here for today, but we're going to put in a, we'll call it an 8-inch T. Mechanical joint, and the fitting description will be 8 times 8 times 8, and then we have the length adjustment. Now there are a number of different charts available. You can find them on the internet. You can contact your particular fitting manufacturer, and they'll be able to give you the footing equivalency for that particular fitting. This is required whenever you do a C-factor test because that's added into the total length of the main. So we're going to put in 33 feet for this particular fitting, and we're going to save it. Again, you can add all the fittings in your system and all of these length adjustments. If you do all that ahead of time, it will make setting up your C-factor test easier. If you wanted to add a new one at this point, you would just click on Add New. So let's go ahead and escape out of here and go ahead and create a main. So I'm going to go back into main maintenance, add new main, and I'm going to call this, oops, one. So I create a new main called IMS Demo Main 1. If you have an asset ID you want to attach to that, that would go in this field. In here, you know, I can put or whatever you might want to put in there. We're going to actually use this same main for both C-factor and UDF, so, and which is abbreviation for unidirectional flushing. Install date, again, if you know it, just click on your calendar or just manually enter it. Status of the main is probably active or we wouldn't be testing it. This is kind of an important field, I think. When we set up a main, I usually like to describe that main from being from hydrant to hydrant. That way the guys in the field have something visual they can see. And usually it's easy to see two hydrants and position yourself between those. So in this case, I'm going to put in, my location notes are going to be general location notes from So I know I'm going to be looking for the section of main I want is from the corner of Cliff Avenue to Minnesota Avenue, and I'm going to be looking for the hydrants I set up in that area. The pipe type, again, I have entered that value beforehand. If I got to this field, hit my drop down, it wasn't there, I can click on this plus sign. It will shortcut me back to the pipe maintenance where I can add the new pipe without leaving my program. Connection type, we're going to be using mechanical joint. Again, you can click the down arrow, or you can just start typing the letters and it will pop up. Okay, main length. This is important for both unidirectional flushing and C factor. So we're going to go in and we can just type in a number here. So we're putting in 1,065 feet. The pipe diameter, the maximum and minimum need to be recorded. Our minimum pipe diameter is 8. In this case, the maximum will be 10. Now I realize that's unusual, but when we do calculations for C factor, we're going to want to know the minimum and the maximum pipe sizes. And so they're there for reference only. Once I've completed this area of the mains, I need to save that. So I always like to build my main the way I would look at it in the field. So we're going to start with a hydrant. I simply click on the down arrow and select a hydrant. Then I'll go and find that particular hydrant. So I know that hydrant H3 is the hydrant that's on the corner of Cliff. And I'm going to add that to the main. I know that there's one T in this section. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to change this to fitting. I'm going to go down and find that T. If I had more than one in there, I would select from the list. I'm going to add that to the main. And then finally, I have a hydrant. I'm going to use hydrant H7 as the hydrant that's on the corner of Minnesota Avenue, and I'm going to add that to the main. So now I've created a main. It starts with hydrant H3, ends with hydrant H7. There's only one fitting in there. There could be two fittings, a valve, it doesn't matter. Your list would be in that order. Start with a hydrant, end with a hydrant. Makes it easier for the guys in the field. So now I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I've now created a main. Now, on this particular main, this record is forever unless something changes. If it changes, you simply come back in, click on whatever area has changed, make the changes, save the data, and that will update that record. So let's, on the History tab, once we go out and do some work on this main, create a work order, do some maintenance, or do a flush or C factor test, those history items will appear in this area of the screen.